It was the start of the swinging 60s. But Tasmania swung a few years behind the other states. Much of the country welcomed the new technology in 1956.
From the top of Mount Wellington, Channel 2 transmits to Tasmania.
The first words and pictures to greet Tasmanians on the box. Pictures are the heart of television, and the new medium really came to the fore, bringing the ferocity of natural disasters into Tasmanians' living rooms.
A message from Mrs. Jerker at 49 Derwent Park Road. Marie and Nigel have been burnt out.
Although a lot's changed, the ABC's news theme, the majestic fanfare, has been a mainstay in one derivation or another. Capital works were at the top of the government's news agenda in the 1960s. It was the golden age of hydroelectric schemes, and Premier Eric Rees became known by the moniker Electric Eric. His rapid agenda saw the rise of what was to become another mainstay of nightly news: environmental conflict. While Tasmania might have been behind the times in some ways, in one way it literally leapt ahead. A shortage of water in the Premier's beloved dams prompted the introduction of daylight savings. The longer dusk hours, now an institution adopted by most mainland states.
It was virtually Peter Hudson's swan song at North Hobart. He went to Hawthorn in Melbourne for an undisclosed price.
Tasmanians have long loved a sporting fixture and hero. The decade ended on a grim note: the disappearance of former model Lucille Butterworth.
Well, this is where the trail of Lucille's known movements ends. What happened from here on, no one knows.
A mystery that remains unsolved today. In the 1970s, another Tasmanian institution began, 15,000 turning out for the opening of Hobart's Salamanca Market.
A very old trading centre has been revived in Hobart,
while a modern landmark was taking shape.
I'm now travelling up the 230 feet above ground level to the top of the casino.
Australia's first legal casino opened. But it wasn't all beer and skittles. The 70s were marked by some terrible tragedies. And one that lives on in the memories of many.
Hobart's Tasman Bridge as it looked less than an hour ago, smashed in two in an incredible accident which has claimed 5 lives.
On January the 5th, 1975, ABC News Tasmania was broadcast around Australia and the world. Some say it was the day ABC television news came of age in Tasmania. 1975 marked another historic point in television: the arrival of colour. But at around $800 a pop, the equivalent of more than $6,000 today, the new technology was out of reach for many. In 1979, something to celebrate. Tasmania won its first one-day cricket trophy, a feat not repeated until 2004. It's argued that win spurred the heyday of Tasmanian cricket, which later saw the rise of household names including David Boone and Australian captain Ricky Ponting. The 1980s are synonymous with environmental clashes, none bigger than the battle to save the Franklin. It was the images captured by the late ABC cameraman Warwick Curtis that garnered the support of activists around Australia and the world. His son Peter Curtis, also an ABC cameraman, remembers his father almost drowned.
The raft upturned in a rapid and my dad got tangled up in the net, and he was held underwater with the raft upside down. It was quite prophetic to him, and I do think that footage did a lot to bring the public's attention at large to the potential fate of the Franklin River.
While the river's beauty captivated many, the dam debate divided families and the state. ABC television charted the rise and fall of the state's most prominent individuals. Not everyone loved the ABC.
I would not deal with the ABC in any way, shape or form.
Tasmanians have long loved a royal visit, and one recently became a particular favourite. Another favourite, the weather, was never far from our screens.
For Hobart, it was the heaviest fall of snow for 65 years.
As now with COVID-19, the pilot strike of 1989 highlighted the state's isolation. One tourism operator suggesting a novel solution.
That's the way to bring an end to this disaster. Withdraw from sexual relationship.
It wasn't the only unusual protest. Activist Michael Mansell led a delegation to Libya, hoping to enlist the support of Colonel Gaddafi for the Aboriginal cause. ABC television's documented some of the most defining moments in Tasmania's history, from industrial disputes to some of the state's most shocking crimes.
These people up here.
In 1996, the Port Arthur massacre, which claimed 35 lives, shook the state to its core. The ABC's played an integral role in covering the Sydney to Hobart yacht race, never more so than the tragic 1998 race, which claimed 6 lives.
That was the first year I was presenting news and had a personal sort of connection with the race, having come down working on the radio relay vessel 4 times.
For the past 6 decades, ABC television news in Tasmania has tracked some of the biggest political and social changes in the state's history, and Fair World some of its biggest contributors.
Today we've lost a truly great Tasmanian.
We really felt like we were in the centre of the universe at that stage. That would be the biggest story that happened in my time. Denali bushfires, of course, would have been high up there as well.
From summer bushfires to department store blazes. Enduring legal cases, development battles, natural wonders and tragedies. ABC camera operators have captured the state's most defining images and people.
People like me see the best and the worst of humanity and people and events, and we get to hang around with all sorts of people from all walks of life. I think it keeps you really well grounded.
Hobart ground to a halt in 2014 for the visit of China's president, and tourism took off. Coupled with the opening of Mona and its festivals Monofoma and Dark Mofo, Tasmania had culturally come of age. While COVID-19 has thrown a cloud over the short-term future of tourism in the state, advances in technology look certain to change the face of television news in the decades to come.
Will somebody be sitting in this studio presenting a news bulletin each night? I would doubt it.
Airlie Ward, ABC News.